What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Once again, we're here for my team. Episode number 21 for the Imola GP, otherwise known as the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. We have a sprint race weekend to get through, and, well, the sprint races for me in both career mode and co-op career mode have gone quite well for me. Getting first points in both co-op and my team. So, yeah, let's hope for more of the same in this race. Whether it's going to be as crazy as those two races, it remains to be seen. But welcome back, guys, regardless. Thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, if you're new to my channel, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to see plenty more F1 22 videos. I've started to do some, other one-off videos, and I hope you've enjoyed them. I'll continue to do a little bit more of that, as well as continuing the career mode grind. So, striking that nice balance. We currently have $3.4 million to spend on the facilities of this team. What can we afford so far? Not much, because we're getting towards Spec 2 of our facilities, and when we get to Spec 2, things really ramp up in terms of costs. So, the near priority for now is going to be doing quality control, because my word, do we keep having failures on all of our components. I think it's been 10 failures in a row so far this season, which has been pretty crazy. We're going to fast forward time in just a few seconds and see if some of our more recent upgrades will go on. That's an 850 downforce, 850 point. Oh.
We had a major issue on the production line earlier this week.
11 failures in a row. Absolutely lovely. That one only costs us 100 points to fix up, ready for this race, which I think we will do. But yeah, doing that major rear downforce upgrade, which should go on in time for the next race. Or the race after this one. But regardless, we're in the mud, it seems. I don't know if this is a glitch, if we're just having the worst luck in the world. But the failures of late have just been absolutely ridiculous, and it certainly needs sorting out. Regardless, though, even with the failures, we do manage to overtake two teams in Formula 1, Aston Martin and Williams. We're right in the thick of it with AlphaTauri as well, so potential is there for points. Alright then, here we go for qualifying for the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix, and this time we actually haven't fast forwarded through to qualifying without changing our engine components. I was able to compose myself and get ready for this session. Also, because the Italian, or this race, is so early on in the season, I don't even need to run a newer engine. We're still on our first engine, so either way, it's absolutely fine, and we're raring to crack on with this episode, the second of which of this season. So we got points in the first race of the season in Australia. I'm hoping to back that up again this weekend, and that is not a good omen for this weekend. A big old spin on our second lap, trying to push on those used soft compound tyres. Here's the replay, mounting the curb on the entrance and the exit of the corner. In fact, mounting up onto the yellow sausages, which destabilizes the car quite a bit, and in the end, we were quite lucky to avoid some front wing damage there. We were lucky there was a gap in the wall where there was, so we managed to avoid any kind of damage from the car. Now, with the upgrades we put on this car, we did major front downforce, we've done a major drag reduction upgrade recently, but we are lacking the major rear downforce upgrade. So we had to adjust the setup accordingly, just to make the balance of the car that little bit nicer. It was oversteering a little bit off throttle, but also mid-corner, so that's got to be dialed out of the car, and we've actually gone for more of a straight line speed setup on this next run by taking out some front wing, and it actually made the car faster on all fronts, so that was lovely to see. We've got 2.5 minutes to go in the session, and this is our final lap of Q1. Can we get ourselves out of the bottom 16 and put ourselves up there with our teammate Mark Webber, who is in the safe zone through to qualifying 2 at this current stage. We're up by a tenth and a half as we approach the final chicane. Absolutely yeet it through there. This is the kind of circuit that I really love. It kind of suits my driving style. I like to overdrive. I like to rush into corners. And this is the kind of circuit which in a way kind of rewards really throwing the car into the corners. And it seems to be paying dividends, I suppose, as we're up by a tenth and a half. We did lose a bit of time through the last two corners, but it has not seen us through to qualifying 2. My teammate, though, P5 in qualifying 1, and only 7 tenths away from provisional pole. We're 2.2 seconds away, so Mark Webber has put in the absolute lap of his entire career to get P5 in what is only the 3rd worst car on the grid. Can someone explain what's happening with Mark Webber? Has he got all the upgrades on that failed on my car? Are they all on his car? I'd love to know, because that disparity in performance is crazy. And it's not like the other people around us in the performance index are up there too. It's just Mark Webber solely. He's the GOAT in Formula 1. He's like mid-40s, and he's driving as well as he ever has in his life. I'm losing the words to speak right now, but that's a phenomenal effort from Mark in that Q1 session. I hope he was able to kick on in Q2, and dare I say maybe even Q3. If he is up there, then we'll hope for some big points in both the sprint and in the main Grand Prix. This is a good weekend to be on form and at the front of the grid, making the most of those extra points. So I hope for Mark's sake, he does qualify inside the top 10, and he can really kick on from there. We do have some rain for both the sprint and especially in the main race. So even though it's an 11-lap race, there could still be strategy with the tyre compound. So I'm excited for the sprint. This is always a good race for us. So let's go to the race and see if we can get points.
Welcome to today's sprint. This is shaping up to be another fantastic weekend.
After the points finished last race, let's aim to keep that momentum going.
Well, keep it going we shall with our teammate. He is going to be the team leader, really. It's honestly, it's great having Mark on board. His leadership, his experience in developing the car is certainly helping us and pushing us in the right direction. He's egging me on to be a faster driver. We're not quite there yet, but we will make big strides, hopefully in this race, hopefully tomorrow, but especially in the weekends to come. 5 red lights, and we are underway for the sprint race of the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. My former teammate absolutely blitzing me off the line there. We do need to get better at starts. My game is telling me to run really low revs off the start. Someone's gone straight on into the gravel trap. That's Charles Leclerc. Much like last season in the sprint race, I believe, Charles Leclerc has done a carbon copy now in the Red Bull this time. So he really is cursed in these sprint races here at Imola. Can we get up the inside of Oscar Piastri? The space kind of presents itself. There was a chipper front wing that went flying at the apex of that corner, so someone does have damage. But I want to touch upon the starts. This game is telling me to keep the revs at like 8,000, 9,000. It seems suspiciously low, like 15% throttle inputs, and that's the way to go. Whereas I'm getting conflicting reports. A lot of people are telling me to run 12,000, 13,000 revs. We really need to deep dive into this and see what the best course of action is. I have been using higher revs in my starts a little bit lately, and it has been working.
Okay, radar is clear, weather is looking good for now. Dries definitely seem like the fastest tyre at the moment.
But yeah, I haven't run as high as anything as like 13,000 revs. That's something I'll try next. Anyway, Sonoda's into the lane, as is Albon. So that's another 2 free positions for us. I'll make that 3 as Lance Stroll is going to be in at the end of this one with some front wing damage on, I think that was was it a Ferrari he was racing with? Either way, he's in the mud. Leclerc goes up the inside and takes that spot off of him. And that's another one for the taking. Hopefully a safety car. Oh. Virtual safety car as someone else was going slowly around the circuit. That is Pierre Gasly. Big shock. He is out of the Grand Prix with an engine failure. It looks like actually might be Gibb. No, it is an engine failure. Didn't see the smoke initially. But there it is. Much like the French Grand Prix practice today. Pierre Gasly having incidents with his engine in real life and in the game.
Right, drop your speed.
The realism
That delta's too low, and we're
is
gonna risk a
is
penalty.
unreal.
Slow your
It's
pace
uncanny.
immediately.
Well done, Codemasters. But anyway, P17 VSC deployed. Anyone coming into the pit lane on this occasion? No is the answer. But we're pretty much holding out for that rain, and I'm hoping it's going to strike in only a couple of laps here. And if it does, then
It looks critical. Find somewhere to retire as soon as possible. We can't risk you carrying on with this race, I'm afraid.
no! Just as the race was starting to get spicy, it all comes undone. Engine failure for us. I shouldn't have been mocking Gasly. We're in a Mercedes now, Mercedes power unit, and still the engine gremlins follow us into Season 2 of this career mode. Maybe it's us. Maybe it's the way we're packaging this engine. Are we getting enough cooling into the power unit? I'm not too sure, but it doesn't seem to be working out well for us at Marduk Motorsport. It's working out well for my teammate. He did get P10. Started from P11, moved up a spot, so that was nice. Charles Leclerc getting back up to P11, which is an incredible recovery given the circumstances. But yeah, DNF for us. Mark is looking well poised potentially for points in the main Grand Prix. It's a shame he didn't get anything today, but he's right up there and flying the flag for the team, which is absolutely lovely to see. So we've got to take an engine penalty, actually. It's Parc Ferme, and even though we've lost the components, this doesn't usually happen. I've not been in this scenario before, but I have to take a penalty to get a new component on. So regardless, we are starting at the back for the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix, and since we are starting at the back, I think it only makes sense that we take all new components all round. So engine, energy store, turbo, control electronics, hell, let's even chuck a new gearbox in there. Throw the whole kitchen sink at it, and we'll go full send for this race and see if we can get points.
Hello there and welcome back to Imola, home circuit of the Scuderia Ferrari. We expect to see a lot of local supporters wearing red today, and they've all turned out for what we're expecting will be a sensational event here at the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Fernando Alonso, Norris, Sergio Perez, and Sainz, Schwartzman, Magnussen, Ocon, and Mark Webber, Mick Schumacher, Ricciardo, Nicholas Latifi, and Joe, Oscar Piastri, Russell, Alex Albon, and Yuki Tsunoda, Leclerc, Stroll, Gasly, and Benjamin. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. Well, it's not going to be plain sailing for our drivers today, although with the sky falling as it is, perhaps sailing isn't too far from the truth. Anthony Davidson, could be a wet one today. Great to have you with us. What are your thoughts?
It is a touch damp, isn't it? Well, as a driver, there are three big things to worry about when racing in these kind of conditions: standing water, tyre temperature, and visibility. Judging distance to the cars around you is really tricky when you're driving through the vast amounts of spray that these wet weather Pirelli tyres kick up.
Okay, now that we've got some good points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
They say in Formula One that rain is a good leveler, so let's have at it. Let's go for glory in this race if we can. I'm really thinking about a set of intermediates for the start of this race, guys. We do have the inaccurate or not perfect forecast on, and I've been inspired by Mr. Goatmere in his esports strat. So we're going to try an esports strat here. We're going to go to intermediate tyres. It might only be a short spell on the wets for the AI. So we're in the back anyway. High potential for mistakes for safety cars, and if the pace is terrible, we can always switch back to the wets. But I think this might work out. Let's try.
Okay, so our system checks are good. We need to stay in formation and start bringing the car up to temperature, please. Get some load into the tyres and work the brakes. We want them nice and warm by the end of this lap. The rain's getting lighter now, but it's going to take a while for the track to dry out. Inters and wets will probably have very similar pace at the moment.
That's exactly what we want to hear. It is the crossover point already on the formation lap of this Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. Goatmere Strats right here on the Tiametmarduk channel. I'm just yelling what me confirmed. I don't know what to say. Give me the 2 trophies. Give me the, what is it, $1.5 million? Thank you very much. Everyone else may as well not even turn up for this race because this is ours. Here we go for the start of the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. These guys might be quite slow. So let's see how we go off this start. If any lap is going to be slow for us, it'll be the first lap, but then the track will improve. Jeff, or shall I say Mark, was saying so. Cold tires a little bit on the front especially. Maybe it is still wet conditions. Maybe I've got a little bit too excited there off the start. Regardless, we're going to play it nice and safe. We're not going to throw this away. Keep the front wing intact. Stay with the pack. There's going to be a lot of squabbling off this start. And once these tires get up to temperature, I think we'll be absolutely flying. So let's see if we can stay with these guys. We are running with carcass tire temperatures, so it is the most realistic setting. The tires will be cold off the start here. It wasn't the fastest formation lap in the world, so it is going to take a little while to get these up to temperature. But when we do, I think we'll be flying. Anyway, we're managing to just about stay with the pack here. Pierre Gasly is our next target, as is Lance Stroll. George Russell in the Haas not doing too well either. But yeah, the tires are a little bit cold, and as the AI starts to settle into a rhythm, that's when we get dropped a little bit. We've got Gotifi into the pit lane, and crucially, he's gone on to another set of wet compound tires. There goes our corner cutting bonus for this race. Someone's had a spin up here. I think it might be Zhou Guanyu. He goes very slowly on the exit of that double right-hander, and this is exactly what happened to him. Even in wet conditions, it's treacherous for the AI out there. Very fortuitous that he did a full 360 and was able to keep going. If he wound up in any other direction, you'd think he'd be absolutely out of this race, and now I think he is. That is a quick trip to the gravel trap, making sandcastles for Zhou Guanyu. We've got more people going slowly. That's Albon retiring from the Grand Prix, which slows up this massive pack of cars and puts us up into P18 now in this Grand Prix. A lot of people going slowly up here. Who is this? It's Stroll, Tsunoda, Gasly, and George Russell, 3 wide at the first chicane. And this is allowing my teammate to further secure the position he's already in this race. So, big gap to the next group of cars, but they all need to make another stop compared to us. We can go straight to dry compound tires, round the outside, at the hairpin, trying to make this work. Oh, we need just a touch more grip, but the tires are up to temperature now. The track is drying. We're going around the outside of Tsunoda here. Not wanting to use too much ERS, too much battery here. We hold the outside, and we take P17 in this race. Yellow flag still at those last 2 corners. No safety car deployed by virtue of Albon's retirement on the last lap. This is Tsunoda. Still on the back of me, still looking very threatening in this race. We can't underestimate anyone in this Grand Prix. Stroll and Gasly getting away. Okay, I thought there was a team radio coming in. I was just checking the status of my teammate. He actually is slightly faster than me at this stage. He's about a tenth or 2 faster per lap at this point. So Mark is driving the wheels off this car right now. Meanwhile, we've got Robert Schwartzman coming in for a set of intermediate tires. So the crossover is here. And this is where we're going to see the massive benefit of starting on the intermediate tire. Now it's all going to start coming back to us. We managed to reel in Stroll by over a second in the last 60 seconds. So it's really coming to us now. Max Verstappen into the lane, onto a set of intermediate tires as well. I'm not too sure if we're going to be leading this race. I think the leaders just about have a pit stop over me. But I imagine we'll be right in the realms of our teammates in the top 5, top 6, 7 maybe. I think that's pretty reasonable to assume. Anyway, we have an Alpine in, we have an Alfa Romeo in, we also had Sergio Perez come in, and we also did jump that Mercedes. So life is looking pretty good at this stage. I think we are on target for a top 5 if this continues to play out the way that it is. But we need to kind of hope that it goes the dry conditions very swiftly to make the most of this strategy. Otherwise, I think we'll need to come in again at the end of this, or towards the back end of this race. I'm not too sure if a set of intermediates can do the whole race, but who knows? I've seen stranger things on this game. As we get up the inside of Stroll, that is absolutely lovely stuff, and into P12. So I think no matter where you look at this, we're looking pretty good for some points at this rate. We've got more people in the pit lane. This is Mick Schumacher going on to a set of intermediate tyres as well. Lap 11, and the tyre wear seems okay at this stage. I think it's about 15%. So actually a little bit lower tyre wear than I was anticipating. On previous games, the Inters are really only good for half the race. They get punctures halfway through, so we're actually holding on quite nicely here. And speaking of holding on, Mark Webber doing a good job to not spin there as he sat behind the Alpha Tauri and in front of the Alfa Romeo. Now, lap 12, we have Magnussen into the lane in that Alpine. That puts us up to P8 now, so we're on target for some good points at this stage. Still a lot to play out in this race. The rain has certainly dissipated, and I think we'll make a pretty swift...
So we're looking at another 5, maybe 10 minutes of this rain. Inters seem to be the fastest tyre for now.
Yeah, as I was going to say, I think we're going to make a pretty swift transition to dry compound tyres, and if anything, we might see some people stick it out on full wets all the way until we get to the dries. This could be a Monaco scenario playing out right here. We've got Lewis Hamilton trying to overtake Charles Leclerc on wet compound tyres. I think that's exactly what's happening here. I think some of the race leaders are being very stubborn here and are just sticking it out on their wets, going straight to dries. It's well and truly intermediate conditions right now, but people are not wanting to budge. They're kind of doubling down on their strategy that they're locked into at the moment. We have a little look up the inside into the last 2 corners, unable to do something there. Gasly looking a little bit slow on this start-finish straight. Maybe a retirement is only just around the corner for that Alpha Tauri. How cruel would that be? We do go around his outside though. We let him go in deep into turn 1. We do the under and over. We got better grip, better tyres, and that was actually quite a smart move to make there. We can see Hamilton making another move on a Red Bull. This time it's Max Verstappen, and Verstappen was on the intermediate. So Hamilton really flourishing under these conditions. He goes round the outside of a Red Bull in pretty much equal machinery. That is unbelievable. Hamilton is on one today, as is Sergio Perez, though I'm not too sure he'd be happy about fighting for P7 in this race. Tries to go up the inside into the middle sector, and this fighting, this squabbling is only holding us both up, but it's kind of important to defend this position. This might be for keeps by the end of the Grand Prix. We see more runners into the lane. That's Carlos Sainz onto intermediate tyres. We've got El Plan in as well in McLaren. Also onto intermediate tyres. Charles Leclerc stays out on his wets, as does Lando Norris. They're the last 2 in the field. Oh, I made a mistake into the first chicane and somehow avoided a penalty, somehow avoided a warning, and Sergio Perez gets a little too excited on the loud pedal as well. So we were under pressure from Sergio. Had to brake late to try and defend. I went in too deep and had to avoid those yellow sausage curbs, and Sergio nearly throws it all away in the same vein. Anyway, now we finally have the Red Bull and the Ferrari into the lane for intermediate tyres. They couldn't wait any longer for dry compound tyres, and they are sticking it out on the Inters for the time being. It's still 5-10 minutes away from dry conditions. The rain has stopped for the most part, but it will take a little bit of time to get rid of the standing water. So we're going to be on high alert here to make sure we switch onto the right tyre at the right time. Anyway, nice moment there for both myself and Perez. We seem to be mirroring each other at the moment for mistakes at this point. Sergio this time is as close as he's ever been on this start-finish straight, and I think he might get us. We are setting personal best. We are doing actually really well in this race. We're on the podium. This is for a podium with 12 laps remaining in this Grand Prix. At this point, I think I'm hoping for Inters throughout the rest of the Grand Prix. Sergio Perez is gone. He had a moment out of the exit of the first chicane and got a wiggle on, carted offline. I think he aquaplaned potentially as well, and straight into the gravel. He lost about 5-10 seconds there. Robert Schwartzman now is in P4 in the McLaren. That rookie McLaren driver is on target, maybe, for a podium if we slip up in this race. DRS has been enabled in this one, and now it's time for dry compound tyres. But I'm not too sure if the track is actually ready yet. It still feels quite nice on the intermediate tyre. It still looks quite wet. So I'm reacting to what the leaders are doing. I'm having a look at them on the minimap. They didn't come in, so I'm not coming in. No one behind me came in either. So we're stretching it on the intermediate tyres for now. There's only 7 laps remaining in this race. Schwartzman goes up the inside. We have to mount the yellow sausage curbs in order to, well, avoid contact, avoid the gravel trap. I didn't know where else to go really there. I was left no option. But we hold on to the place in P3. Schwartzman, terrible line into turn 1. And has ended up costing us all a lot of time. Mark Webber is on the back of all of us. And hell, he could even be on the podium at this rate, as I think that was Magnussen making a mistake on the exit of the first chicane. We're now under pressure from, who's that? That's Sergio Perez now. So Perez has overtaken Schwartzman and is looking good for a podium now at this point. I think I might be coming in. I am coming in. The DRS got disabled 2 laps ago, and it's only going to get drier and drier. I think it now is the crossover point for slick tyres being faster. It is a bit of a risk, but I hope that the slicks are going to be working in these conditions. My inters have been on the car all race, all 26 laps. At some point, they've just got to go, and now is the time. We're being very proactive, very aggressive with this strategy. Someone has gone straight on at the first chicane. That looks like my teammate. I think it is my teammate. Mark Webber is out of the running for the points now with only 7 laps to go. I think he might be stuck. That might be a safety car, actually. We rejoin on the circuit. It's not been a good few moments for Marduk Motorsport. We're now in P16 and 18, when only a couple of seconds ago, it was P3 and P6 respectively. So, we have to hope like hell now that the track will dry out. It looks pretty dry to me, and the tyres are gripping up quite nicely, so we should be absolutely flying relative to these guys around us. We are catching Stroll, but not by the drastic margins that I thought I would be. We go purple to the 3rd sector, so that's a sign that the tyres are improving. The track is improving, it's drying, but everyone is staying out on intermediate tyres. What is going on in this race? There's only 5 laps to go in this one, and if the AI don't react before lap 29, they will stay out for the remainder of this Grand Prix. We could have a Malaysia 2013 scenario on our hands, but only for P3 in this race. We are catching up to Mark Webber as well, who we do have history with Malaysia and scenarios like this. We get up the inside of Stroll. He pretty much sidesteps me, really. I don't think he had any grip on those intermediate tyres, so surely these guys are going to be coming in very swiftly for dry compound tyres. Surely this is the lap. The race leaders have not reacted. The major pack has not reacted either. They've carried on for another lap. It's now lap 29. Sergio Perez reacts, who was in P3, and it looks like he's actually overcut us. The intermediates were still faster for a lap or two after I came onto dry compound tyres. Sergio Perez gets up the inside of my teammate, who defends actually quite hard there. He broke really late to try and keep Perez behind to help me out, but unfortunately didn't end up working out in the end. But we catch up to Mark Webber on intermediate tyres on a dry track. The deja vu is real, and it's Magnussen and the entire pack of intermediate runners have stayed out. This is lap 29. This is the cutoff. Oh, it's actually lap 30 now. So the AI are absolutely staying out on intermediate tyres to the end of the Grand Prix, and it might actually work for them because we're not catching them by the rapid rate that I thought I would. On previous games, we'd be 10, 15 seconds a lap faster than these. Oh my word, Webber tried to go for a dive bomb at turn 1. Is he okay? We're not catching these guys by the rapid margins that you would expect from a dry compound tyre. The intermediate, maybe it's worn down to an inter, maybe it's a turkey situation from real life. They already have essentially slick intermediate tyres on their cars. I can't explain it. They're so fast on intermediate tyres. I'm literally only catching these guys by 2 seconds a lap. That's not enough. in what is a scenario where I pitted with like 4, 5, 6 laps to go. So we're on target for nothing in this race. And it's not just me either. Sergio pitted from 3rd place. Clear 3rd place. He's in P14 right now.
Good job. Nice overtake.
I don't know what to say, guys. This is the last lap of the Grand Prix. And barring the AI absolutely falling off the cliff, going underground and into the core of the Earth itself, I don't think we are going to get our podium back in this Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton wins in Italy with intermediate tyres on a dry track. Max Verstappen has gone straight into the back of Lewis Hamilton after the race has finished. What is going on here in Italy? Max is out of the Grand Prix. Is there going to be any post-race penalties as a result of that? Lewis was going nice and slow, so you can't blame him. Max just wasn't paying attention. I don't know what he was doing. Was he looking at his wheel? I'm looking at the crowd, waving. I honestly don't know there. But Max is out of the race, but he already finished the race. This is a crazy end to this Imola race. We seem to have really bonkers races, really bonkers scenarios. And out of it all, we go from P3 to P15.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
That is so disappointing. The intermediates just held out. I'm so confused.
That's it for another Grand Prix and a fantastic win for Mercedes. What do you think it was today, Ants, that gave them the edge over the competition?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it.
Oh, what do I even say about that race? Max and Lewis seem pretty happy. I think there's no bad blood between those guys, it seems. Kevin Magnussen gets on the podium for Alpine. He'll be absolutely loving life, inheriting that podium after myself and Sergio Perez boxed with only 5 laps to go in that one. But every single day of the week, you see the DRS get enabled, and that's a pit stop for dries. That is the crossover point. No one took the opportunity to go for dry compound tyres, apart from myself and a couple others. The pace disparity between the dries and the Inter was crazy. The Inter really just held on there, like mad. Here's Kevin Magnussen. He did a 16.9 on his last lap on that stint. So the intermediate was continually getting faster, but not overheating. Got to the point where K-Mag's last lap was only 0.4 slower than my best lap. Actually, 0.6. That's crazy. That delta should not exist. The difference between the dry and the Inter should be wildly different than that. I can't believe how much the intermediate held on there. I'm sorry to keep banging on about it, but you've got to understand my frustration. Going from potential 3rd, going on target to get our first podium of this entire career mode, and we put in all that hard work. We drive so well from the back of the grid, only for it all to come undone. And I don't know if it's glitch or not. I don't know if I just don't know. Maybe they drove really well. Maybe I'm not giving them enough credit for making those Inters last in those conditions. Either way, we come away with this weekend with no points. Mark Webber, again, showing phenomenal pace in practice, in qualifying, start of the race. That mistake into the gravel trap cost us big points today, as did my strategy. I thought it was a straightforward one. Turns out, Inters was the way to go. We could have done the whole race on Inters, and that would have been a mad strategy, but I followed my gut, and it didn't work on this occasion. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm absolutely devastated with that result. That would have really set us up nicely for the start of this season. We need P3 in the Constructors to get that end of season bonus. We're going to need that for season 3 when we're hopefully trying to mount a title challenge. But yeah, that's a real shame. Regardless, we'll pick ourselves up and we'll come back stronger in the next Grand Prix. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to see plenty more F1 content. And check out some of my other videos uploaded in the last couple of days. You probably missed them. Either way, until the next one, we'll be back with more points, with more upgrades. We've had so many failed upgrades, and yet we're still right up there. We're still in the pack and really throwing up some surprising results for both myself and Mark Webber. So when these upgrades do start going on, watch out. That's all I say. Anyway, until the next one, guys. I'll see you next time.